Hi, I'm Louisa Whitney, and the title of this video is My Ex is So Unreasonable. One of the things that I hear a lot from people is, well, I'd be really happy to resolve things, but the other person is just too difficult. My question to that is often, are they saying that about you? What would they say about you? And there are situations in which one person is completely unreasonable and that makes things difficult to resolve. But there are also situations where there are factors that are just making things difficult to move forward, and it's not that either person is being difficult, it's that they're just not hearing each other or finding that accord. There are various reasons, I think, for this. The first one is that often when two people separate, one person is much further ahead of the other person in the grieving and healing process. Sometimes that person has been thinking about ending the marriage for a while, or has been unhappy in the relationship for a considerable period of time, and so they've had a lot longer to come to terms with it. The other person has simply been unaware that there are problems. I often hear people say, well, we argued sometimes, but yeah, it was okay. They genuinely had no idea that the other person was so unhappy. So it's taking them time to catch up in that grieving and healing process. And that can make things much more difficult to move forward because the other person is still processing things. The second reason is that people don't always hear each other's priorities. So one person is trying to push forward with one scenario, and that scenario doesn't work for the other person. And neither person has really listened to or heard the other's reasons. So it's effectively like trying to push into the opposite direction with a rope that won't stretch. It means that both people get very hot under the collar and frustrated, but they're not making any progress in moving forward. And that's a really frustrating situation to be in. But one of the things that mediation does is that it enables people to understand each other's point of view, which really does enable them to move forward. And the third point is that often people get stuck in patterns of conflict. I think I've said before in one of these videos that most couples, even when they're happily married, have the same row over and over again because it comes back to that same point or that same issue that keeps cropping up. And certainly in mediation, I see clients who start off talking about a particular way forward, but then somebody says something and somebody reacts, and they basically go around the same loop time after time in the meeting. And often people aren't even aware that they're doing this. In this situation, having some kind of either therapy or counselling or short-term help from a family consultant who can help families that are stuck in conflict can really help people to understand those patterns of conflict, why they're happening, and crucially to help them move forward and to break out of that cycle. And by being aware of those three examples, it can help you to move forward with someone who in the initial phases you can feel is just being stubborn or unreasonable, or sometimes they're punishing you for ending the relationship. But by understanding their perspective, sometimes there can be a way forward, and that's where mediation can be really helpful. So thank you for watching this video, and please feel free to share it.